What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys step by step how to cut and install cornices, also known as coving. Now this one here, we've got an internal, external and even an end stop. Make sure you share and save this video because there is not one video on YouTube that'll show you guys step by step how to do it and allow you to get out there and actually do it yourself. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. Alright guys, so I've built a little dummy section here so that I can show you step by step how to cut and install your cornices, also known as coving. Now, it's pretty straightforward once you know the little tips and tricks for cutting it, but a lot of people do get very confused when it comes to measuring and cutting their cornices. So what we've got here is an internal corner. We've got an external right here, and then we're also going to have a stop end, also known as a return. So I'm going to show you guys step by step what they all look like, how to cut them, and how to install them. We're going to repeat the exact same process on both sides, so you're going to get to see it twice to make sure that you're going to walk away from this video knowing exactly how to do it. So I'll first show you guys all the pieces, what everything looks like, so you know exactly what it is that you're dealing with. You might want to write some of this stuff down. It might actually help you guys as you're going through and doing it yourself. So with an internal corner, your bottom piece is longer than your top. So this here is our right side of our internal corner. And you can see there, our bottom piece is longer than our top piece. So if you have a look at it, bottom piece longer than the top, write that down. That's going to help you guys remember. With the external, our top piece is going to be longer. So I'll show you guys that in a second. We've got our right side piece and our left side piece, which I'll pick up in a second. If you have a look at the cut here, it's beveled towards the inside of the corner. So it bevels out. With an external corner, it bevels in. So it's going to have a back cut on it. If we take our two internal pieces, left side, right side, bottom side is always longer. Put them both together and that's going to sit nicely in the corner just like that. Now what you can do at this point is you can take a pencil and just do a little pencil mark on top and on the bottom. That's going to help you once you've got the adhesive to know exactly where to line it up. It's not necessary, but it will help you out when you're first starting off. So little pencil mark like this, you'll be able to line everything up exactly where you need it. So if we have a look at our external cut, you can see here our top piece is longer than the bottom. It's the exact opposite to our internal cut. And you can see here it's actually got a back cut on it. So it goes in back towards the center of the board or our cornice piece compared to our internal, which was tapered the other way. So if we take our right side piece, which is this one here, that's going to sit up on the edge right there. We'll take our other piece, which is our left side, slide them in, and that's going to be our external cut right here. So a little bit hard to do and hold it and show you guys, but that there is an external cut. So if we have a look now at a stop end or a return, what we need here is an external cut. Easiest way to imagine it is if a wall was to be coming along the side here and you needed to wrap around that corner, you'd have an external cut, which is this one right here. Then what we need to do is cut a little return piece, which looks like this. I'm going to show you guys how to cut that as well. Slide that one there in the back. Might actually slide it across so I can show you guys once I get my hands out of the way. And that there is a little return. So you can see it's completely covered all the way around. It's got a nice finish on it, and I'm going to show you guys how to cut that as well. Now the way we cut these pieces here, or our cornices or coving, is by using a cornice miter box. It's a lot different to a regular miter box, so you will need to go out and purchase a cornice miter box. You can buy a little triangle piece if you really wanted to do just one piece. Wouldn't recommend it. They're not very easy to use and they've got a little flex in them. So to get an accurate cut isn't going to be very easy. One of these boxes is probably about $30–40 or so, but it's going to make your life much easier. So if we have a look at a cornice miter box, it looks very similar to a standard miter box. However, this one here has little steps on the side. So you can see there a higher platform, a little bit lower and a little bit lower. For whatever reason, no one likes to explain how to use these. This one here is a 90mm cornice. It basically allows you to accommodate for different sizes. So with a 90mm cornice, you sit it right on that top step like that. With a 75mm, you drop it down one step. With a 55mm, you drop it right down to the bottom, just like that. So that there allows you to get the right cut with the right contour on your cornice. In this case, we're using a 90mm, so it sits right on the top, just like that. All right, so we're going to get ready to cut our first piece. We're going to be cutting for an internal corner. It's the left side. So if we have a look at it, this is why I like to you take a pencil. It makes life much easier. Okay, remembering with our internal corner, our bottom piece is longer than the top. So that means our cut is going to be in this direction. Okay, this is the easiest way to do it, and I recommend you take a pencil, mark it up, because it's about to get confusing. What you do is just mark it up so we know the bottom side is longer on our internal cut, and then angle it off so that our top side is the shorter side. Now that's just for a standard one. What we're going to do on this side here as well, actually I'll leave this side here so I don't confuse you guys straight away. Okay, I'm going to take my miter box and we drop it into the miter box. Remembering to put it on that top step because we're using a 90. Now if we have a look, bottom side is longer than our top, and this is sitting straight into our miter box. What you have to do at this point is you have to flip the cornice. And this is where it gets really confusing for a lot of people. If you cut it in this direction here, just slide it straight over and cut it in that direction. It's actually not going to give you the right cut. What you need to do is pull it out. So remembering this is exactly the way it is on the wall. You can turn that over and put it inside the box facing this way. So at this point we're going to cut it. It looks exactly the same on the inside. We just flip the cornice piece over. Now if that's confused you, once again, this is the way it is up on the wall. Drop it in and we're just going to flip it over as if we're turning around. So once again, because I know a lot of people will get confused with this, bottom side is the longer side. This is the way it looked like when it was up on the wall. We simply flip the cornice over so that this is now looking like it's the top side here. Drop that one there in place, line it up, and then you cut it with a handsaw. So just simply slot it in place, make sure you've got that one there on the right line, which is right here, and cut through. So once we've got this piece here cut, you simply flip it back around the other way, and now we've got our cut, which is correct. Our bottom side is the longer side, and you can see it tapers in towards the inside of the corner. So now we're going to cut the internal corner for our right side, and we're also going to cut our external corner. So what you need to do at this point is you need to measure. This time around we didn't measure on our first side because I'm just going to stop it on a stop end or a return. So what you need to do is measure from the bottom all the way to the edge. So in this case here it is 450. So we'll just write that up here, 450. Remembering our bottom side is the longer side, so it's going to look like this. Our cut's going to be here, so we're going to measure from this point. And on this side here, our longer side is going to be on the top. So 450 right to the end, which is the edge here. That's going to be the end of our short point, and here is our long point. So we've got 450. We can take our piece of cornice again if you want to make sure so that you don't get confused. Our left side is going to be going up like that. Our right side is going to be going up like that. So it's 450 mil. So we're going to cut our two pieces at 450 to 450 mil, both going in the same direction but a different cut. So I'll show you guys now in the miter box what we're going to do. We know our first internal cut is here, so I'm going to cut this side, get that one there ready, then from that edge I'm going to be able to measure over the 450 mil. So remembering we have to always flip it. This is the way it looks like when it's up on the wall. Turn that one there around, and we're going to cut it from this side here. Discard this one here, and now if we flip it back around, we've now got our internal cut ready to go. So that one there is ready. What we can do at this point, just lay it down, and we're going to measure our 450 mil. So from the edge, because we said that side there touches the wall, we're going all the way 450, which is right here. Okay, so that's our little pencil mark. And from here, it's going to be going up in this direction. Remembering we drew it here on the side, so it's going up from here to that way. Put it back in the miter box. This is the way it looks like up on the wall. Flip it around, and we're now going to cut this section here. Alright, so now we've got that one there cut. We've now got our internal and we've also got our external, so we can take that up and make sure everything fits. So if we take our piece now with our internal miter and an external miter, drop that one there where it's supposed to go, that's going to be sitting here, and then we can take our left piece and that is going to go right there. So now we've got our internal and external cut on this side here. What I'm going to do is get my external cut here for my return ready. So this side here, we're imagining that it's going across a wall down that way, just to close off the gap. So this is the way it looks like at the moment. We're going to cut a return coming back here, so we're going to have to angle it back. Remembering the left side is higher, I'll just grab the pencil. So now that I've got the pencil, remembering I might actually write this down. So inside, the bottom is longer, bottom, longer. Outside, the top is longer. So TL, top is longer, BL, bottom is longer. So now up here, we know we're doing outside. That means the top needs to be longer. That means we need to cut it back this way here. So we're just going to cut this one here now as well. So back at the miter box, top side is the longer side. Remembering this is the way it looks like when it's up on the wall, so we have to flip it. And now we're going to cut this one here. So now with our external cut, which is this section right here, now that we've got that one there, we are imagining that the wall runs across that way, so that means we need a return going back the other way. So we need to cut one more piece with the angle going in the opposite direction. So this time around, the top side is going to be the longer on the right, and it's going to be coming back angling the other way. I'll show you guys how to cut it in a second, but what we need to keep in mind is the spacing between the top here, which is 90mm. Because we're using a 90mm cornice, the distance from here to here is going to be 90mm, and that's how we're going to know exactly what size we need to cut. Hopefully I haven't confused you guys yet, but remembering we're going to do it again on the other side, so hopefully it'll make a bit more sense. Top side is the longer on our external. Now if we're imagining that this side here is where it's coming from, so it needs to go like this, that means this side here, the top side needs to be longer. So if the top side needs to be longer, we're coming back on an angle like this, and we're cutting an external cut right there. So we'll cut the external cut, then we're going to measure 90mm, which is the size of the cornice, back to here, and then we're going to cut it straight down. So once again, drop it into the miter box. This is the way that it was up on the wall, which means we need to flip it. Flip that section. We're going to be cutting in this direction now. So hopefully you guys can still see there. I'll cut this one here down. Flip it back over, and this is now our external on the left hand side. So now what we needed to do, we said we needed to measure 90mm, which was 90 from the edge. So that'll line up right here. I'll just double check that measurement. So from the outside into here, that's 90, that's fine. What we're going to do now is we're just going to create a straight cut. So if we have a look at our miter box, just mark the edge right there on the 90, and then we're going to cut straight down the edge here. So that's going to be just one straight cut for the thickness of our cornice. You have to be a little bit careful as you go down to the bottom because it's going to thin out a bit. So now if we bring our piece back here, internal miter, external miter, and then we've got our little off-cut piece that we put here. That's going to go right in there. And now we've created a nice little return right here. So that's how you create your return, 90mm thick for the spacing of our cornice. Internal, external. We've also got our other piece here which is ready to go. So what we're going to do now is create our two little externals for our reveal or our face on the edge of the wall. So now we need to cut a section for this face here of our two external corners. Remembering with an outside or an external corner, the top needs to be longer. So that means when you put it up here, that top section is going to be longer than the bottom, and the same thing on this side here. Now we don't know the finished length of our top section, so we need to work off our bottom section here. So that one there, we need to measure with a tape measure. We've got exactly 110. So if we put this one here back there, we know we need to make a cut going up this way, a cut going up this way, and the distance between our two bottom sections is 110. So we'll cut our first piece anywhere along here. From there, we're going to measure off the bottom section 110, mark it, and then we're going to cut back in the opposite direction. All right, so we're going to drop it in here, remembering we're going up this direction and then up the other direction, and we need to flip it. So we're going to flip this one here over. We're going to cut our first piece, which is right here. Once we've got that, we can then measure our 110. So remembering our shorter pieces are going to be the 110. So we'll measure this one here. 110 falls exactly here. So once again, we're going up in that direction. So we're going to drop it into the box. This is the way it looks like when it's up on the wall. Flip that one there over. And we know we're going to be cutting in this direction here. So we'll slide it over. And that's what happens when you use scrap pieces. So I'm going to have to redo this one here. All right, so now we can take the piece that we've just cut along with our other side of the wall. Drop that one there in. Line it up. And that one there is now ready to go. So we've got all our pieces cut for this whole run here. What I might do is actually start adhering all of this section here, and then I'll continue on along the other side. So if you're still stuck after I've adhered all of this and you're not 100% sure, keep watching the video again. You can either watch it from the start or you can continue on, and we're going to repeat the process probably a little bit faster the second time around for this right section here of the wall. All right, so now we've got some cornice cement mixed up. This one here, depending on the consistency that you mix it at, you might be able to just stick it straight up on the ceiling and the wall and have it hold its position. Other times you might need to put a screw in. So it all depends on the consistency of your mix. This one here is pretty thick, so we should hopefully be able to just squeeze it on there. Now with regards to buttering it on, usually I've got a little pan ready to go, but for this one here, we're just going to put a little blob on the bottom. And same thing on the top, because we're not going to mix up any of the edges just yet. So as long as you've got it on the edge like that, that's all you pretty much need. Now for this one here, we're going to butter off our left side as well, because we're going to have a little joint there, and we're actually going to install that one now. So that's what it looks like at the moment, just a little bit of buttering on either side. We'll flip this one here over and press it into place. So I'm not going to completely press this one here in just yet, because this is just our first piece. We'll take our other piece now, which had 450 written on it. So we'll flip this one here around, line that one there up, and press it into place as well. Now this one here is my first piece, so we're going to make sure that everything lines up before we move on. So at this point you can take off all that excess. And we'll clean it all off properly in a second. But we'll just get the bulk of that out. Once again, line up our internal corner now. I like to run my finger along the edge. You don't have to. You can get specialty tools to clean it all off, but I like to run my finger over the edge, make sure everything's filled in. And we're going to clean this off with a sponge in a second. Same thing here in the corner. If there is a tiny little gap, fill it in with a bit of cornice cement. Just smear that in, and then we'll clean it off with a sponge in a second. Take off that bolt. And then we've just got this last little return here. And just put that one there inside as well. As the cornice cement starts to dry, you want to take a wet sponge or a rag and just clean off any of that excess material that you've left over. Just making sure not to get it too wet, because if the paper gets wet, it will eventually start to tear. So you just want to dab it as you go. and just don't go overboard with the wetness of the rag or the sponge. All right, and once that's done, this side here is now complete. We can move over to the other side. Hopefully I haven't confused you guys too much with regards to the positioning of which way the top side goes or the bottom side. Flipping it, it is a little bit confusing, and I think that's why not many people have made a video on it. It's very, very hard to articulate exactly what needs to be done without actually doing it yourself. But this side here is now all complete, looking good. I'm very happy with that. We're going to move over to the other side. Hopefully I haven't confused you guys too much. If you're confused, let me know in the comment section below. We might end up doing a follow-up video on this in case you've got any questions. But let's move on to the other side and see if we can pick up the pace. So for this side here, I've put some markings on the wall, so hopefully this will help you guys out. External corner, remembering the top side is longer. It's 450 from edge to edge. And this side here is an internal corner, so bottom side needs to be longer. Bottom side needs to be longer on this side here as well. Where we're doing our return or our stop end, this one here needs to be an external cut. Okay, so top side needs to be longer, and then we just need that little 90 piece that was a little infill for the end here. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to move over to the miter box, cut all the pieces straight away, and then we're going to quickly install these ones here as well. So I found a little scrap off-cut piece that's already got my internal ready to go. What we can do now is measure 450 from here to here, which gives me my marking right there. We need to do an external cut, so the top side is going to be longer this time. So that means it comes up on an angle like that. Remembering we need to flip it. So we're going to flip this one here, line that up in the miter box, and then we can cut that one there. So that's that piece ready to go. So this time around we need an inside, which means our bottom is going to be longer. We need an external, which means our top side is going to be longer, which is right here. And we've got a distance of 500 from edge to edge. So what we're going to do first is flip this one here over. We'll cut one side. All right, so flip this one here back over. That's our internal ready to go. We can now take our tape measure, pencil, and we're going to mark up our 500 mark, which is right here. That's our 500 mark. Remembering we're cutting up this way, and we also need to flip it. So put it in here. So that one is also ready to go. What we need now is just our little piece at 90mm to be able to slot in for our return. So this time around the return is coming the other way. We need this side here to be longer. So top side is going to be longer here because it's coming across on that side. Top side is going to be longer, and then we're going to measure across our 90 and cut it straight. So if we take this one here, flip it. So now we've got our external here. We need to measure across 90, making sure to measure it from the top. Drop that in the box, and we're going to cut it down square, or just a straight cut. And then this one here can go in. Whoops. Take our piece and squeeze that one in as well. Same thing with our last piece. Squeeze that one there in. Let it dry for a couple minutes, and then start sponging everything off. And once it's all done, this is what it ends up looking like. So now we've done our externals, internals, and our end stops or returns. It is definitely a mind-boggling task, especially the first time you do it. It's going to drive you nuts. With time and practice, it does become easier. So hopefully this video is going to allow you to get out there and actually do it yourself step by step. Hopefully you've all enjoyed the video. You've learned something new. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.